Nothing gets you more pumped for Monster Slaying than that killer intro track. Let's just soak this in and... Oh God, what is that? Oh, bomb! Oh, did you dump a load on my campsite? Oh God, I've been sitting here for hours. Where are you?
Oh my God, it's amazing! Oh my God, I agree!
How are we ever gonna make a video on this?
I don't know!
Oh man, there's already been so many incredible quests, creatures, and characters fleshing out the already huge, open world, branching, narrative, dark fantasy, action, adventure game that I don't even know where to begin!
Wait a second. That was just the prologue?! Oh man, I'm gonna cry! Okay, so The Witcher 3 is a massive, living, breathing, dark fantasy world jam-packed with countless branching, impactful, weighted dialogue choices, monster slayer contracts, shockingly fleshed out side quests, hidden secrets to discover with dozens of various customizations and crazy combat potential as you adventure across the treacherous, expansive open world. We could spend an entire video just talking about all the features of any one of those topics and we still wouldn't come close to doing this game justice. But we'll try. This world is enormous, and it's absolutely full of substantially meaty quests, in-depth stories to uncover, and semi-randomized loot to procure, like dozens of weapon types, formulas, designs for new gear, potions, bombs, powerful decoctions to craft, and it's all spaced out just well enough to not feel too crowded, but it's also still enough to feel like you're exploring and uncovering new, unique things for hundreds of hours. And as if that wasn't enough, the replay value here is unprecedented. A tremendous amount of quests have multiple branching stories and tough choices to make that not only matter in the short term, but can have dire consequences on unanticipated events dozens of hours later. You'll make your living in this world killing all sorts of monsters for local towns and troubled people that you come across on your journey. Each one of these contracts could act as the plot to an entire movie with ample story, tense scenarios, and epic boss fights, and even with some crazy plot twists, making for some morally ambiguous choices, determining for yourself who truly are the real monsters. And the side quests here are just as robust, if not more so, with countless world-building diversions that vary based on your choices. Many of these are marked on your map or hinted at by in-game characters, but dozens you'll stumble on simply while navigating the world. Most players won't even come close to seeing them all, making each discovery special and indescribably immersive. You'd think it'd stop there, but no! There's even hidden lore-building books and notes from all sorts of places, leading you on devious and sometimes even morbid treasure hunts and investigations, where each journey presents a fully realized narrative for you to piece together, with nothing but the clues in the environment and the scraps of paper left behind with no detail left unembellished. And then there's the action to all this adventure. In combat, you'll automatically draw the relevant silver or steel sword for monsters or humans respectively, and have access to a vast array of attacks and tools based on what you've crafted, like bombs and potions, and what you've equipped, like light or heavy armor determining your stats and skills, and on top of all that, a massive customizable skill combo tree allowing you to create countless combinations of combat potential. The sword fighting and enemy variety here feels incredible, alongside tons of loot to uncover for your efforts, which might honestly be the most ambitious loot I've ever seen in a game yet. There's a crazy amount of weapons and armor types, diagrams and unique smithies and shopkeepers for each that all get semi-randomized stat drops based on your level. Plus there's an outrageous number of unique quest items and heck, even food. There's so much work put into this game, it is unbelievable. And then the DLC adds a tremendous amount of new everything. A whole new massive map, new contracts, side quests, 2 huge main campaign stories, large and impressive enough to justify being their own games, and a brand new Gwent faction with all new cards to collect and events to play. Oh yeah, Gwent! It's an awesome, well-designed, strategy-based collectible card game you can dabble in and challenge NPCs for money and new cards that alone becomes so addicting and fun by itself that it might as well just be an entire game. It is. Do you have all day? Because I could go on. This game looks magnificent. It's a technical marvel on every single release platform, even the Switch. Seriously, how is this even possible? I don't even know where to begin. This game looks absolutely stunning in so many regards that, once again, we're going to be zooming by and glossing over some of the finer details, but even still, we'll try. The character and creature designs are a tremendous improvement from the already impressive Witcher 1 and 2. The models and animations all look so compelling and real, it just makes the sense of immersion all the more palpable, to the extent that most players will never even notice the insane level of detail the developers added into the game, like how Geralt's beard actually grows in real time. Holy crap! And then there's the incredibly cleaned up UI, giving all this complicated skill tree and customization stuff a simple, understandable, and clean presentation. Even in the overworld, leading to sharp controls and easy to navigate environments, which is especially helpful in the outrageously huge and bustling cities of Novigrad, Oxenfurt, and Tucson. Just imagine the level of detail wandering around these incredibly detailed cities, markets, and ports, where you can stumble into pretty much any random door and find yourself in an actual NPC's home, and see where they live, follow them to work, and even carry out their lives, and then take their stuff. Even the 2D art for every single obtainable item, like the absurd amount of quest items, alchemy components, and consumables, are incredibly detailed and thorough. Even the books and notes you find have various artwork styles based on where you found them. That's some insane levels of dedication! And then there's the Gwent card artwork, which was absolutely amazing enough as it's representing the vast array of characters across both the games as well as the novels, but also got totally new alternate artwork in the free DLC updates. Speaking of free DLC, there's actually been a ton of it since release, and in most copies of modern iterations of the retail game, it's all included. The rare times this game doesn't look absolutely magnificent is when you get odd graphical or gameplay quirks, like when NPCs are doing something they shouldn't or your horse is teleporting somewhere strange. I've even clipped through the ground and had the game crash on me a time or two, but in terms of frequency, it was nothing like the first installment. Taking into account the absurd amount of things going on all at once, it's a miracle that this game not only functions, but performs as well as it does. Also, you'd always have the option to save, so even if something bad happens, you've always got a backup on top of an autosave feature. Even still, most of these slip-ups were funny, like Triss's hand loudly burning during a normal conversation, or a goose desperately trying to escape the kitchen at an inn. Those rare moments stick out, however, because the rest of the game is so immersive and well crafted that any little hiccup sticks out in your memory. Most of the problems we encountered were due to our recording of the game over multiple monitors, alongside other technical stuff that was technically our fault. Did we mention that you can watch this entire base game in our massive Let's Play? Shameless plug? I just want to spend an entire hour talking about how cool the various creatures and full bestiary is for this game. Oh, but what about the awesome but perfectly balanced Witcher senses you have that focus in with a fisheye and help you sniff out strange scents and follow tracks like a hound? Oh, and the characters! And the environments! The gory detail! The sex scenes! And the... Wait, what? Avoiding spoilers this time, the big question everyone has with this game is, can I start with Witcher 3 before playing the first two, or even reading the novels? And to that I say absolutely. In fact, I'd highly recommend it, as this game creates its own story using the previous installments purely as reference material to make a good starting point for players new and old. Geralt of Rivia is a monster slayer for hire called a Witcher, and looked down upon by the populace as a necessary evil ridding the world of its vile ghouls, vampires, and specters. After fully recovering his memory after the events of the past installments, Geralt receives a letter from his former lover Yennefer trying to find him. Geralt tracks down Yennefer with the help of the non-benevolent invading army Nilfgaard, taking advantage of Geralt's desperation by roping him into slaying the local griffin in exchange for information on the whereabouts of the missing sorceress. Get used to people trying to manipulate or take advantage of you in this world. To them, you're just a garbage-cleaning mutant. Yennefer informs Geralt of his summons by the Emperor of Nilfgaard, Emir var Emrys, demanding that Geralt lead his investigation in tracking down his daughter, the lost princess of Cintra, Ciri. However, Geralt's motives are personal, as Ciri is actually his own adopted daughter. As many armies and powerful forces want their hands on Ciri for her political influence, as well as her rare magical elder blood, it's up to Geralt to find and save Ciri from the conquest of these encroaching forces, and most notably, the icy spectral riders from another world, the Wild Hunt. This journey will take you all over the world as you investigate Ciri's whereabouts, from the eerie swamps of Velen's Crookback Bog, to the free city of Novigrad, and to the distant frozen mountainous islands of Skellige. The real story is in all the investigations and contracts you fulfill for the locals in exchange for the next breadcrumb, leading you closer and closer to uncovering Ciri's whereabouts, and also in the decisions you make on your journey, drastically changing the outcomes for the side and even the main characters. You have a large influence on this game's narrative, and unlike most games that claim to sport meaningful dialogue choices, every outcome and decision feels weighted and morally ambiguous, aside from them all having thematically interesting outcomes and variants on the greater story as a whole. But this isn't just a story about an adoptive father risking everything to find and save his daughter. It's also about the world of The Witcher and experiencing the various contracts and side stories throughout the adventure that show a true dedication to craft and story writing. It's also so professionally done and finely tuned to the details that it's still indescribably astounding even on subsequent playthroughs. Even when you explore off the beaten path, you'll uncover notes and diaries embellishing on the world and tying up narrative threads you might have otherwise overlooked, like discovering the names of the 3 wraiths you just defeated by a nondescript fountain, written in blood by the hands of a skeleton locked in the basement cell of a nearby shed, revealing the true tragic events of a mother going mad and drowning her 3 daughters in jealousy. The fact that every nook and cranny of this world has beauty and tragedy hidden in countless stories is simply astounding. We don't deserve the undeniable dedication to the world the writers gave us in The Witcher 3, but all we can do is thank them for the seemingly overflowing and unending fantasy narrative they've crafted for us to experience. The perfect balance in storytelling is when it's there when you want it and it's gone when you don't. And not only does The Witcher 3 balance this perfectly, allowing the player to access incredibly in-depth character bios and bestiaries customized to the choices made in their playthrough, but the actual story is so well crafted and impactful, it's a shame nothing else has even come close to rivaling its monumental story writing achievements. The only thing that's not up for debate is that Geralt should definitely end up with Triss. Excuse me, he's with Yennefer for the whole novel series.
But who the heck cares when their relationship was about as compassionate as an orca in a entire book series just because Triss and Geralt complement each other's personalities and shortcomings in a way that can't even be compared to the disastrous relationship shared by Geralt and
You might be getting tired of this by now, but it's true. This soundtrack is so spectacular with unique atmospheric, perfectly fitting orchestral and authentic musical scores that it's probably one of the greatest video game soundtracks ever made. Can we also give credit to the incredible voice cast for these outstanding performances? Not only is every single line in this entire game fully voice acted, but just imagine how many lines you'd have to voice for a single character like Dandelion or Zoltan. The dozens start hitting the hundreds once you realize how many alternate choices you can make, giving them slightly different lines for each scenario. It can honestly be thousands! This game's script is nearly 500,000 words long and required nearly 1,000 speaking roles. Just try to wrap your mind around that for just one moment. How come every single category for this game is just us talking about how it's such a tremendous success that it's possibly the greatest in the industry, redefining the standards for excellence? Wow, what a random and unprovoked concept. I know, right? This game is so outrageously impressive in every single regard that I'd go so far as to say that if I were only allowed to recommend a single video game to someone, it'd be this one. The only downside to playing The Witcher 3 is that your quality standards for video games in general will go up so high you'll become disenfranchised with absolutely everything else. Without a doubt, this is the game of the decade. Actually, I'd go so far as to say it's the game of the millennia. No, it's the game. Yeah. I legitimately can't enjoy other games the same way anymore because The Witcher 3 was so good it literally put everything else to shame. Why are you so perfect? He said the word. The positive gamer in me proudly gives Witcher 3 The Wild Hunt a perfect 10 out of 10 without hesitation. If you think I spent this entire video gushing about how great this game is, then just know that I didn't even come close to fairly showcasing even a fraction of what this monumental achievement in gaming has to offer. Either you knew full well that this perfect score was coming, or you just haven't played it yet. The critical gamer in me, who am I kidding? The Witcher 3 The Wild Hunt is an absolute masterpiece and deserves nothing less than the highest of honors with a 10 out of 10. And so does its 2 massive DLC packs, Hearts of Stone and Blood and Wine. It's all so impressive that Witcher 3 truly deserves to be in a rank all of its own. But for the sake of a review, I will reluctantly round down to a 10. But what do you think? Tell us how your positive and critical sides rate Witcher 3 The Wild Hunt in the comments below. But if you're so bold to let a couple bugs and glitches keep you from appreciating this magnificent beast of a game, then you're just playing with yourself. Hey, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for a couple bloopers, by the way. And remember to like and subscribe for more. And use the links in the description to nominate future episodes. Thank you to our Patreon members Atomic Thomas, Cameron, Arrow, Ben, Rowan, Erica, Shyam, Sid, and Squad Fam. Booyah! Let's just soak this in. No! And then there's the Gwent card artwork, which was amazing enough as it was representing the vast array of various characters and creatures across both the games.
Yes. Not a blooper or anything.